Hello everyone, this is Claudia from bobospa.com, and today's Valentine slash friends card is about my grandmother and my grandpa. So this is something I will give to her to remind her of grandfather. And my idea was I wanted to do some kind of like Polaroid frames and then a nice picture in the middle. And I have this Simon stamp wood grain paper, and I really like it. I've been hoarding it so far, but now I decided to use it. And I'm making kind of a Polaroid um, frame here, and it's quite easy to do. I mean, I just marked with some pencils the points where it's like half an inch in every side, and then I just very carefully trim down the papers. On the pattern paper, I just completely draw the lines in, because on pattern paper you can very easily remove the pencil. Um, on the other paper is will leave always some marks, so I'm not doing that. The panels are around 5" by 3 3/4, so half an inch of a normal standard size card. I'm gonna use the middle panel for another card, so I'm not throwing anything away. And this pattern paper, I hoarded it for so long, I don't know where I got it. It was just one sheet of paper randomly, not in a package. So yeah, it's just a really nice kind of antique looking paper, just like something from my grandma. I also die cut a tag with the Simon stamp tag, and that's gonna be for my sentiment. But now I'm gonna work on the main image, and I'm using some watercolor paper, and the watercolor paper I use is very thick. It's 300 grams, so that means around 120 pounds, and I'm using the smooth side. The stamp is from Yvonne Creations. It's a Dutch girl, and it's called Oma and Opa, which translates from Dutch to English, of course, grandpa and grandma. And they look so cute together, and I really love this stamp. I got it with a discount, so the minute I saw it I was like, okay, that's right, that's for my grandma. I'm gonna try to match their clothing and everything. So I'm just picking up some distress markers that I'm gonna use. As you've noticed lately, I'm using quite a lot of the distress markers because I just love them. And yeah, I'm trying out all the colors. I'm gonna zoom in and do some coloring. For this, I'm using the technique of mostly scribbling on the block and then picking up the color, with the exception of the faces, because the faces are too tiny to do that technique. So I'm just doing some antique linen first for the face and the pieces of feet and hands that are left, and after that I'll probably use the tattered rose. Those are the two colors that kind of work the best for me in terms of face. It gives a nice pinkish color. If you put too much water on the initial layer, I would suggest that you let it dry out before you try the second color. But I didn't put too much water. The water brush I use is a detail tip from Ranger something. I'll have a link in the description of this video and also on my blog post, where you can go and see what I used. For most parts, the ones that I could find. I'm using some green or some brown gather twigs, I think, to do the slippers, and a bit the ground where they're sitting on or they're walking on, something like that. Now, I really like the watercolor look. It's my favorite. I don't like really coloring with markers, normal like Copic markers, because I'm not very good at shading on that one. But this one like looks just perfect for me. So anyway, I like it. I am trying to match their clothing also, so I'm gonna using some green um, uh, for both grandma and grandpa, and then I keep using different colors. In between colors, I always clean my acrylic block with a baby wipe. I don't want colors to kind of blend in and go from one color to the other. I want them to, you know, be their own color. Um, for certain things, I'm using quite a lot of water. For example, now I'm doing a bit of shading all around, and I'm using this blue, and I put a lot of water on it. You don't, a little bit goes a long way. You don't have to put a lot down to have a good coverage. So yeah, I don't do it perfectly. I don't cover all the spots because yeah, on normal watercolor you don't, you leave some spaces white. That's in the how do you call it, in the technique. And the hair I did with old photo. Of course I'm gonna put some more of that old photo all around, and then I'm gonna measure it to see exactly how much do I need to cover from this whole panel, because it's gonna be behind the frame, so I'm not sure that everything is gonna show up. So I'm making a test run here. I'm making an approximation how much I still need to color. Depending on how much water and whether it's the first time you pick up the color or the second time, you get a bit of a gradient. So from my point of view, yeah, watercoloring is the easiest way to do shading and everything. Of course, other people might disagree, but I love it. Um, I notice here that the frame is a bit too white. It's really lovely with the wood grain, but it's really too white. So now I'm planning to distress it a bit. Um, and I'm not finding really the correct color. In the end I decide on old photo again, because it's kind of like an old photo. I have multiple foam applicators. I like around 5, because I use one applicator for the same color school, kind of one for the blues, one for the greens, one for the yellows, one for the reds. I don't like to mix the color schools together, and I find it that it works better if I keep one foam for each type, so I don't have to really exchange the foam squares every time I use it. In order to adhere the watercolor to the frame, I'm using some Tombow Mono Multi Glue, because this is really thick cardstock on top of some kind of embossed one. You really need to make sure that one doesn't shift, doesn't move, and it's securely there. And I don't trust anything else other than either uh, that kind of glue, wet glue, or score tape, and that's it. Um, Initially I thought I'm gonna put the Harlequin one behind, but then I decided to do it the other way around. So the wood grain will be the first layer, and then Harlequin one on top. And as I said, I tried with snail, and then I thought, no, that's too much bulk, so I'm gonna use score tape. And this is really strong adhesive, and this makes sure that this panel will never get out of that base card. The base card is normal 5.5 by 4.25 top folding card, and yeah, I'm just gonna put the panels a bit wonky on the card, so not completely straight. just to give it more interest. And also the top frame I'm gonna pop up with some foam notes. And now I'm just trying to figure out the placement. Like I said, this card is so far from the series my favorite. I really liked how the Polaroid kind of frames in the end looked. It really looked nice, and they were wonky and I don't know, really old looking kind of style. So I like it. I sometimes cut the foam squares into half because yeah, you don't need full ones, only in the corners, and to make sure it doesn't sag. And I mean, everything costs money, of course. I'm trying to squeeze as much as I can out of these foams. So it's okay if you use half ones. I mean, it still holds really good. And of course, I'm gonna go and do my sentiment on this tag. And again, the sentiment is from Kaisercraft, and it's the third one in the row, and it's called All You Need Is Love. Again, I'm trying really hard to understand this VersaFine Onyx black ink, and I really need to be very fast while doing it. I'm using a stamp press to make sure I can arrange it very good, and you know, not doing it on the side. But it takes some times to get used to with this ink. Again, from a Simon Says Stamp kit, I had some Baker's Twine, I think, natural twine, and I really like this one because it is very thin. I usually don't have this thin twine, so I'm threading it to the tag's hole, and I'm gonna make a tiny bow there, and it's gonna look so cute on the side. I'm just gonna put some normal tape runner on the parts that are connected with the Polaroid, and I'm just gonna adhere it like that. Now, I tried different things for this card, and in the end I decided to use some tiny wood veneer hearts. I have a ton in my stash, so I thought, oh, it's Valentine, let's use hearts. Yes. But because this wood doesn't really show on top of all the other browns, it's kind of brown heavy card. I took some special marker, it's a Staedtler marker, to color in and to make it red. The trick with this marker is not to touch it while it's still wet, because otherwise you pick up the color with your fingers. And also because you color on top of wood, unless it's a really like paint, the color will seep too much in the wood. So I tend to put glossy accents on top of the hearts to kind of trap the color on the heart itself, and then it really gives it a nice gloss, and then the color also pops. So that was kind of it for this card. Let me know what you think, if you liked it or not. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're a new person watching these videos, so you don't miss any new videos if you like this one. Thank you so much for watching till the end. It was a long video, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.